You take about 20,000 breaths a day. Most of the time, you don't even think about it. It is an automatic, subconscious rhythm keeping you alive. But with every single one of those breaths, you are inhaling monsters. Look at the dust floating in a beam of sunlight in your room. It's not just dead skin cells or dirt, it's a living, breathing ecosystem. Millions of invisible fungal spores, mold, yeast, ancient fungi are floating in the air, landing on your skin, and entering the warm, dark caverns of your lungs right now. Unlike bacteria, which are simple single-celled organisms, or viruses, which are just fragments of rogue DNA, fungi are complex. They are cellular architects. They are nature's ultimate masters of decay and recycling. 65 million years ago, when a massive asteroid struck the Earth, the sky was choked with ash. The sun was blotted out. The planet plunged into a deep, dark freeze. The mighty, cold-blooded dinosaurs, lacking the energy to keep warm, died en masse. The Earth became a giant graveyard, but in that dark, damp, freezing world, the Fungal Kingdom did not die. It thrived. It exploded. Fungi covered the planet, consuming the billions of tons of rotting flesh and dead forests, infecting anything that couldn't fight back. So, how did our ancestors, the tiny rat-like mammals, survive this fungal apocalypse? How did humanity ever get the chance to evolve? The answer is fire. You see, you are a walking furnace. Through millions of years of brutal evolution, the mammalian body learned a highly expensive trick called endothermy. Your body forces you to eat constantly, burning massive amounts of calories just to boil your blood at a very specific, unwavering temperature, 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. This is your biological fire shield. Most fungi simply cannot survive extreme heat. Their proteins denature. They melt. When those millions of spores enter your 37-degree lungs today, your immune system doesn't even have to fight hard. The spores instantly cook and die. You are immune. But nature is fragile. It is constantly looking for shortcuts. What if we changed the rules? Just a tiny microscopic bit. Think about modern humans. We constantly complain about the heat. We sit in air-conditioned rooms. We wear heavy coats in the winter. We complain about how much food we need just to fuel this exhausting internal furnace. What if a mutation occurred? What if the hypothalamus, the thermostat in your brain, decided to be more energy efficient? What if human biology lowered our baseline temperature by just 2 degrees, down to exactly 35 degrees Celsius? At first, you wouldn't notice the horror of what your body just did. You would just feel a little chilly. You might shiver. You'd put on a thick sweater, grab a cup of hot coffee, and go about your day. You would look in the mirror, seeing the exact same person you were yesterday, completely unaware that your absolute defense system has just been permanently disabled. The fire shield is gone. The heavy steel gates to the fortress have been left wide open, and the invisible spores floating in the air of your bedroom, they realize it. Day 1 of the drop. You inhale a single microscopic spore of aspergillus. Normally, a white blood cell called a macrophage would swallow it and dissolve it in acid. But at 35 degrees, your macrophages are sluggish. They are slow. The spore doesn't burn up in the furnace. Instead, it lands softly in the warm, damp, unprotected tissue of your lungs. It realizes the temperature is perfect. It is the ultimate incubator. It drinks the moisture from your tissues. It feeds on your nutrients, and it germinates. By day 3, things get physical. The spore cracks open. Microscopic root-like threads called mycelium begin to grow rapidly. They branch out, wrapping tightly around your alveoli, the tiny air sacs in your lungs. They begin stealing oxygen directly from your blood before it can even reach your heart. You develop a dry, persistent cough. You look pale in the mirror. You feel a heavy weight in your chest. You think it's just a common cold or a mild flu. You go to the pharmacy. You swallow some antibiotics and go to sleep. But antibiotics are designed to burst bacterial cell walls. Fungi have armor made of chitin, the exact same material found in the exoskeletons of insects. The antibiotics do absolutely nothing. Day 5. The mycelium continues to grow. It is no longer just a surface infection. The fungal roots act like needles, physically piercing through the walls of your lungs, ripping through the tissue and entering your bloodstream. Now they have a nutrient-rich highway to every single organ in your body. But they aren't interested in your liver or your heart. They are aiming higher. Day 7. The fungal threads reach the base of your skull. They encounter the blood-brain barrier, the impenetrable fortress wall that stops almost all viruses and bacteria. But the fungus doesn't care about biological biological locks. It uses brute physical force. The growing, branching mycelium shatters the barrier like tree roots destroying a concrete sidewalk. They enter your brain. This is where the true nightmare begins. The fungus doesn't just eat your brain tissue. It is much smarter than that. It begins to manufacture and release highly complex psychoactive chemicals, similar to psilocybin or LSD, but designed for absolute control. It physically wraps around your neurons, intercepting the electrical signals between your synapses. You are still awake. Your consciousness is still perfectly intact inside your head, but you are no longer in control of the vehicle. You look at your hands in the mirror, but you cannot move them. You try to scream for help, but your jaw clamps shut with terrifying force. You try to run to a hospital, but your legs mechanically turn around and walk out the front door. You are trapped in the sunken place of your own mind, a prisoner behind your own eyes. Day 10. You feel an overwhelming biological urge that isn't yours. You begin to walk. You seek out the tallest structure you can find, a towering skyscraper, a radio tower, a high mountain peak. You climb, tearing your fingernails, ignoring the exhaustion, driven by the chemical whip of the parasite in your brain. Why? Because the fungus knows physics. It knows that altitude and wind are required to scatter its spores across vast distances. You have been reduced to a biological delivery drone, a meat puppet for a mindless ancient organism. Day 14, the final stage. You stand completely frozen, precariously balanced on the edge of a dizzying height. You cannot see, you cannot hear, but you are still alive. The fungus has consumed all the non-essential moisture and fat in your body. Your skin is gray and tight. Now it must complete its life cycle. It must reproduce. The pressure builds beneath your skin, and then it breaks through. From the corners of your eyes, from inside your mouth, from the pores of your face and arms, beautiful, horrifying fungal stalks begin to violently erupt. The fruiting bodies. They bloom into the cold air in vibrant, unnatural neon colors, sickly yellows, luminous purples, and toxic oranges, starkly contrasting against your pale, dying skin. The stalks open, and with a silent puff, they release hundreds of millions of new, invisible spores into the rushing wind, sweeping over the city below, waiting for the next host, waiting for the next breath. Within a matter of weeks, human civilization does not end in a blaze of glory. There are no nuclear explosions. There are no fast-running zombies to fight. There is no resistance. The world ends in total, absolute silence. Our great cities, our homes, our monuments, all covered in a beautifully colored, fuzzy, swaying blanket of mold. So, I want you to bring yourself back to reality. Look away from the screen. Look at your hands. Feel the warmth of your skin. Put your hand over your chest and feel your heart beating. That heart is generating a massive amount of heat, burning through calories, working tirelessly second after second just to keep you at a perfect 37 degrees. The next time you feel a fever coming on and your body aches or you sweat profusely on a frustratingly hot summer day, don't be annoyed. Do not curse your biology. Be incredibly, profoundly grateful, because that invisible, exhausting fire burning inside you is the only thing standing between humanity and the fungal kingdom. Take a deep breath. You are safe. For now. Hit subscribe if you survive this journey, and I will see you in the next reality.